Welcome to day 2 of VEDA 2014. I switched back to the old camera just because I can put it on a tripod easier and the screen flips so I can actually see myself filming, so I know how I'm framed, unlike the other camera where I can't do that because the screen doesn't flip. Anyway, something exciting happened yesterday, which was I got a letter, this, in the mail. So this is a handwritten letter that I got from my friend Mary, who lives on the East Coast. It's probably maybe the second handwritten letter that I've ever gotten. Well, people have written me letters, but then they've just handed them to me in person. But this is the second letter that I've ever gotten in the mail that was handwritten, I'm pretty sure. And I mean a letter like just checking up like, hi, how are you? Instead of like thank you letters or happy birthday letters and cards like that. So this is kind of a big deal. The funny thing about this letter is that usually I'm the first one to check the mail, but yesterday when the letter came, my roommate, Jess, was the first one to check it. So, unfortunately for me, I know my friend Mary from the internet. So the first name that she came to know me by was not Dana, but it was my username, which most of you are familiar with. Dana Chocobo Jockey Nyberg. Jockey actually has an E at the end, but that's okay. So when I came home yesterday and Jess gave me my mail, she said, oh, so I assume that's some kind of nickname? I was like, oh, it was my first email address when I was in 5th grade. When I told her that, she probably didn't assume that I still use that username. It's not like I don't like that username. I'm actually very fond of that username, especially since it's been in use for at least 7 years. It seems that many people joke about the usernames that they made up when they were in 5th grade. So they start with some weird username like ChocoboJockey16, and then they progressively move up until they have a professional email, which is usually just like their first initial and their last name at gmail.com, which I think is kind of boring, but I still use that username on my other YouTube channel, and I have gotten many messages from YouTube that are like, do you want to change your username into a real name? And the answer has always been no, because I've been using the username for so long, and I guess I've just grown attached to it, so I don't see myself changing that username anytime soon. But anyway, online the username is fine and I'm very proud and fond of it, but just when the username comes into the real world and then I have to face real people who aren't really in the same social sphere mindset as I am, then it gets kind of weird. And then I have to say things like, oh, it was my email in 5th grade, and it's not like I use that name anymore, no. But anyway, I got Mary's letter, and it was very nice, and it was all excited to see me, and it has all these highlighted words, and it's exciting. The sad thing, though, is that I would really like to write Mary back really quickly, and I know probably what I'm going to say in my letter, but the actual task of sitting down and physically writing the letter, and especially the task of putting it in an envelope and putting a stamp on it and mailing it, is probably going to take at least a month. So the first handwritten letter that I ever got in the mail sent to me was from my friend Megan, who now goes to school on the East Coast. And she sent me a letter, and it took me maybe 6 months to write her back. And the thing was, I had typed out everything that I was going to say. So the only thing left for me to do was to copy it onto a sheet of paper and then mail it. Now, the copying took a long time because I wanted to make it really nice. So I couldn't do it on printer paper because printer paper is large and ugly. So I had to cut out a nice cute sized letter paper, and then I had to write it down in pen. And the step that takes the most time usually is just the mailing process, because I always put the letters in my backpack and then I think, okay, if I'm walking to school I might pass by a post box and then I'll just put it in the post box. But it always seems like the path that I go on, there are no post boxes. Or if I do pass a post box, then I just kind of forget about it, and then the letter gets lost because I don't see it anymore because it's in my backpack, and then the letter just stays in my backpack for many months and never gets sent. So unfortunately for Mary, at least a month. Actually, that was the third handwritten letter that I've ever gotten. The second one was Megan's letter, and the first one was Alex's letter. Oh, sorry, Alex. I never responded to that letter, but I wanted to. Alex, in a month, expect a handwritten letter in your mailbox.